Today's video is for everyone out there who's not a commerce graduate. I am going to give you a very simple framework that can help you keep track of your net wealth. It's a one-page view of all your assets and all the money you owe to others, and therefore A minus B, what is your net wealth? This may look very simple, but tracking this over a period of time in your life can make a lot of difference. If you are someone who is already very good in keeping track of your assets and liabilities, then this could be an opportunity for you to check if you are following the best practices. However, if you have something even better, I would love to hear them in the comment section. I'm sure all of you would have friends and family who are not commerce students or commerce professionals, so I strongly suggest you to share this with them so that it can help them in their life. So, how are we going to do this? When I started this, I actually did it in an actual paper in a notebook, so it's easier to keep track of things over time. But nowadays, I've started doing this in Microsoft Excel. But it's up to you whether you want to do this in paper or in Microsoft Excel. Before I share further details about the framework, I want to quickly tell you how this will be really useful for you in your life. This framework will help you to be more conscious of your wealth. Instead of imagining your financial position, you'll actually know where you stand in terms of your wealth. This will give you a lot of motivation to set goals for yourself and keep track of them over time. And you also get a chance to ask, what is enough in your life? And one last thing, as usual, you have to trust in the power of compounding for your wealth to grow over time. You have to be patient. This is a framework to feel more comfortable about understanding what you have, not a platform to get more anxious. Hello and welcome to my channel. I make videos that are useful for life and career. Click the like and subscribe button to get your weekly updates. So now let's look at how this framework is set up. We are going to start with capturing all our assets in one place. Then we'll write down all our liabilities. Just whatever we have as sum of our assets minus sum of our liabilities is our net wealth. You can actually capture it here. And then we look at all the income or money we make in a month and how we spend it. This will give you an idea of what is your net savings for a month. Total of income minus total of your expenses will be your net income. Just keeping track of what is your net income over time and change in net wealth over time can make a lot of difference. Let's begin. I'm going to expand the rows by clicking this 3 on top left hand corner, and you'll be able to see the subsections under each item. The idea here is to track all the assets and all the liabilities item by item and keep track of them over time. So I always start with the most liquid item, that is cash in hand. I write down how much cash I have in different locations. If you notice, there are three columns. There are three columns on the top. I generally use only fair value for most of the items. I'll explain to you where cost and MTM. MTM stands for mark to market, comes into relevance. So I'll start by capturing what is the cash in hand. This is mostly like my wallet and one more location at home. And then write down what is the bank balance. This is just the money in my savings account or current account. What is my bank balance in different bank accounts I have. Then I move on to less liquid items. These are my fixed deposits. I write down by bank how much fixed deposits I hold in each bank account I have. Then I move on to stocks. This is where I capture by custodian. The idea is to write down how much money you have in stocks, that is in equities, how much in bonds. So this also gives you an idea of what is the mix of debt and equity in your portfolio. So like I said, the context of, like I mentioned, cost and MTM comes into picture when it comes to this section, broker or custodian section, where we write down what we originally invested and what is the value of those today. And the difference between the two, or the balancing figure, is mark to market, or what I call mark to market. So the idea is to be aware of how much money you invested under each of these areas and what is their true value today. And this column gives you what is your profit or loss on them from inception to date. There are more advanced ways of tracking returns. But our idea here is to be just aware of what is our net wealth, and therefore these simple elements would do. Then I move on to more illiquid investments. These are money in pension funds. I track them one by one, and then investments in gold or other precious metals. And finally, we move on to track the money we have invested in real estate. This is also a place where you will actually have a cost and what you think is the fair value, which will give you a sense of money you have made through your real estate investments. P/L stands for profit or loss. By capturing all of these in one place, you will get an idea of how much is the total money you have at hand. Then we move on to capture another important thing, all the money you owe to others. We'll start with the most expensive borrowings we have at hand, that is credit cards. Capture the money that you owe to banks under each credit card. Start with them because these carry a lot of interest and you should focus on settling them at the first possible chance. Then I move on to capture any personal loans I have. This may be loans with a bank or from a friend I borrowed. And then eventually money from banks for buying a house or other mortgage related type of loans. These are the most common type of liabilities, but if you have other liabilities, feel free to capture them here as well. And now you have two things, you have your total assets and you also have your total liabilities. So A minus B will give you what is your net wealth. Our intention is to just keep track of our net wealth, but over time I've realized that keeping track of your income and expenditure at a very high level can also make a lot of difference to spot trends in your spending behavior. So I start by the basics like we did in the assets and liabilities. I capture my salary and other source of income. My other source of income here could be from fixed deposits, from the stocks I sold, from the mutual funds, and any dividend income I earned. And then I move on to capture some of my expenditures during the month. I don't keep track on an extensive basis. What I try to do is I have an application in my mobile phone that helps me capture the major expenses I spend during the month. But these in general I think are very easy to track, the major ones. The money we pay for our rent, the utilities, the electricity, gas, water, internet, and other things, other subscriptions. This could even include your Netflix subscription that we pay on a monthly basis. I do keep track of the money I spend on food, especially the ones that are more expensive for at restaurants or on special occasions. And for a few months, I did keep a very close track on how much money I spent on groceries. So now I have a benchmark, and every month I just write down that rough number on what I think would be the money I would normally spend on groceries. We often forget to notice that we also spend on few other stuff on a non-recurring basis. These are money we spend on our dress and then money we spend on electronics. I think it gives a lot of value when we track this over a period of year. It gives us a good idea to tell us how much we spend on our dress and on electronics and where we have scope to reduce. All other items should be self evident. It will be very useful if you can keep track of them as well. So, that is it, a very simple framework to keep track of your assets and liabilities and also to keep track of your income and expenditure. Try this and let me know if this is useful to you. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.